guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So what we're actually going to be doing in this video is actually installing my passenger side Recaro Sportster GT seat. If you guys have been following my journey with the STI, you know that I have been running this same exact seat on the driver's side for 2 years now, actually. And I get a lot of comments about why I'm not running a matching passenger side. The main reason for that was because in the past, the STI was my daily driver and my wife would sit in the passenger side. And I wanted to keep all the OEM stuff. I wanted to keep the airbag and just keep it nice and safe and everything. I didn't really have the urge or the need to upgrade to match the driver's side just for looks. I wanted to keep it nice and safe. But since the STI is now a garage queen and the F-150 is now my daily, I figured it was time to finally upgrade and get the matching seat. So I picked this up from Stable Energies. You guys saw that video. I'll link it in the top right corner, picking it up. But it is the exact same seat. Naturally, this is the most expensive option that you can get in terms of materials. They have a vinyl version, so it doesn't look as nice. They also have a cloth version, a couple others as well. You could also go custom and do whatever you want to them. But from Recaro, if you were to option it out, this is the full leather. So it's real leather. It's very nice. And then it's got a nice kind of cloth-like insert in the middle. It's very grippy. It's really nice. I absolutely love it. Now, this is the exact same seat as the CS. Some people get these confused. It's literally the exact same seat. The only difference is the insert here. The GT is a little bit more aggressive and sporty looking, whereas the CS is a little bit more subdued and kind of OEM looking. The European cars that stay over there, they sometimes get optioned with the Recaro CSs, like the Focus RS. They actually have Sportster CSs in there over in Europe, where the US version got the crappy seats that are in there now. But I picked these up from Stable Energies, as I mentioned. I also got the Planet Technology bracket, same one I'm running on the driver's side. And I also got the Recaro rail for the bottom, so I can adjust it to wherever I need it. So it's a pretty straightforward install. The only difference about this side comparing to the driver's side is the passenger runs an occupancy sensor. Basically, it tells the car that somebody is sitting there, so it turns the airbag on in the dash. So what we're actually going to do is transfer over that sensor to this. Now, I got to figure out a way to actually do that. I may just tape it or get it onto the bottom of the seat somehow, because I'm not sure if I want to dismantle it and get it into the actual seat. We will see once we get there. So the first thing that we're actually going to do to get started is actually disconnect the negative terminal on the battery, just in case, because when you're dealing with anything electric, especially airbags, it's a good thing, a good practice to do, just in case. It literally takes, 30 seconds to do it. So might as well get it done. So let's go ahead, let's get that done, and then we can start getting the passenger OEM seat out of the car and the Recaro in. All right, so now that we got the battery disconnected, what we're going to do is actually remove the bolts. So there's one here, one on the other side, and two in the back. They are 14 millimeter, very straightforward. Then once we remove those, we can tip the seat back and then unplug everything underneath. One tip I recommend is getting some type of towel and laying it on the sill here, because when you go to take the seat out, these little brackets right here are fairly sharp. And you don't want to scratch anything. And plus, you'll be leaning on there, so putting down a little towel there will help a lot. All right, so we got the bolts out, both 14 millimeters, as I mentioned. Then all you gotta do is tip the seat back. Now what you wanna do before you do that is slide the seat over all the way forward and then tilt the back all the way forward as much as you can, so it's as compact as possible. But as you can see, there is a harness here. So all we gotta do is actually unplug this little harness right here, get it detached from this little bracket, and then we can pull the seat out. So let's go ahead, let's get this harness off, and we can get the seat out of the car. so we got the seat out. We're all good to go. Everything is vacuumed up and nice and clean. So now we got to do a little bit of dissecting on the stock seat. So now we're going to be doing everything underneath and on this cushion. The sensor is actually underneath the cover. So we're going to have to do a little bit of dissecting to get all that out. Also, we need to transfer over the seatbelt receptacle because there is a little bracket on the floor mount to mount it to that. So let's go ahead, let's flip this on its back and start figuring out how to get this out. All right, so we got the seatbelt receptacle off. You literally just unbolt it with the 14 millimeter, then just pull the harness out. It actually unplugs right here. Now these two wires over here, the yellow one is the airbag wire. Obviously we're gonna leave that. And this white plug with the black loom is for the heated seats. So we actually don't need any of this, but what we actually need is this whole entire piece right here. So we need to remove this from the seat and transfer it over. All right, so we got the little harness off here. It just connects to these two little pins on this bracket. Now this little module here is actually for the occupancy sensor. So you can see the ribbon going up to the actual sensor. So what we're actually going to do now is remove the cover. So you can see these plastic clips, they're just hooked onto this little metal bracket. So you gotta unclip them, then you can fold it back and we have access to the sensor. So let's go ahead, let's get that done. And then we can take this off the bracket and then transfer it over to here. Alrighty, we got everything out of the seat that we need. I put it back together loosely, not perfect, but it's a little loose around here, but it is for the most part back together since I'm just going to store it. But we got the sensor out, no problem. As you can see on the back as well, that is actually the heating element, and I pulled the wire out as well, so we might have heated seats in the passenger side. So that's pretty cool. But the main thing that you need is just the green and black looking thing. The white piece on the back is actually the heating element. It was actually much easier just to remove both at the same time instead of trying to peel the heating element off of the sensor. So it was much easier to get to. So relatively easy. It was just a couple clips and some metal clips on the inside to get the bottom seat cushion off. So there is no need to actually remove the back, as you guys just saw. So now we just need to figure out a way to mount that onto this seat. Now I don't want to take this completely apart. So if we look on the bottom, it's, there's not really anywhere to put it. So I may try to figure out a way to kind of shimmy it in this bracket a little bit. I don't know, we'll figure something out. Like I said, I really don't feel like taking the cushion off and, or at least the cover off and trying to figure out a way there because I really don't see a hole for the little ribbon, this plug to come through. So we might just have to mount it to the bottom and have it plugged in at least. So let's go ahead and start assembling the Recaro. The first thing that we're actually going to do is try to figure out where the sensor can go. And then we can get moving onto the rails and kind of tidying everything up. So let's go ahead, let's start getting this together and see what I come up with. All right, guys, so it's been about half an hour, 45 minutes. I got everything bolted up, got the slider on, got the sensor on as well. I actually ended up slipping it through. You can see the bar right there. I slipped it through and then I ended up using some double-sided tape to keep it stuck up there. Now, is this gonna work? I have no idea. I'll figure it out once it's in there, but it should be able to sense some pressure once you're sitting on the seat since there's really no way to get it in the seat unless taking it apart. Use 12 millimeter bolts with these supplied Allen screws that you can see in there. I got a nice 14 millimeter bolt for the seatbelt receptacle on the side. Then just going to run the harness underneath the bracket once I get it in the car. Then as you can see, I mounted the module right on this bar with some double-sided tape, plugged the little ribbon plug right into it, and then I got my harness coming right off of here. Then up here, I just tied up the two wires that I'm not gonna need for the seat warmers. I'm not really too concerned about that, but got everything that I need. Everything is ready to go. So this is what the seat looks like, I guess, sitting in the correct position. So yeah, it's literally exactly mounted the same exact way as my driver's side. So it should be a very, very straightforward, simple install. Then we're just gonna plug everything in with the stock harness right here. There's going to be, I believe, one that I'm not going to be using for the heated seat. But this is the airbag plug, the yellow one. And as you can see in the middle two prongs, I'm going to put a 3.3 ohm. not a 3.3K, but a 3.3 ohm resistor or jumper. So I'm going to stick it in those little pins right there, and that is actually what's going to keep the airbag light off on the dash. I did the same thing on the driver's side. I'll show you what I do real quick before I put it in, and then we are good to go. So these are the little resistors I use. I got a bunch of them when I did the driver's seat. I wasn't able to purchase just one. You had to purchase a pack, but here is all the information you need. 3.3 ohm, not 3.3K. Some people get that confused. You need 3.3 ohm, a quarter watt. That is the barcode number. I'll link it below for you guys if you are interested in picking it up. But these are the ones I use. So let me take one of these out. I'll throw it in the plug, tape it up, and we should be good. All right, guys, so there we go. You can see it's in the 2 middle pins. You just stick it in there, and then you should be good. But I'm going to put some electrical tape on there just to make sure it doesn't fall out. But yeah, that's all you got to do. Very, very straightforward. All right, so got it taped up, nice and safe. You really don't need to tape it, but me just taking the extra step to make sure everything is installed properly and it doesn't come loose and won't have any issues. Now, let's get the seat into the car. Really simple. We're just going to be using the stock 14 millimeter bolts. The silver ones go in the rear and the black ones go up front. All right, there we go, guys. First look at the new seat installed. Finally, matching seats in the STI. Kind of hard to get angles, but absolutely beautiful. I mean, literally, these are my favorite seats ever. Sit nice and low. You feel so much better just sitting even in the passenger seat. It's crazy because the passenger seat, the stock passenger seat, is actually higher than the driver's side since this side's not power. So you weren't able to adjust it up or down. You're literally just stuck in the highest position ever, so you were actually sitting higher than the driver's side. Absolutely beautiful. The slider works great. You can move it back and forth. I kind of just positioned it to be even with the driver's side for now, and I kind of adjusted the back just to get it comfortable for me, but whoever wants to sit here can adjust and we'll be good. So now the moment of truth. Let's connect the battery and see what happens. Hopefully it works. I'm not 100% sure it's going to. But I guess that's the part of modifying your car, and let's see what happens. All right, guys, so I got the negative terminal connected. I didn't put the cover back on, but let's go ahead and test if the airbag light turns off, because that is the most important part, to make sure all the other airbags are functioning properly. So let's go ahead, turn it on. Now we're going to be focusing on this light right here. If that turns off, we are up. There we go. So we are set. We are good. That little resistor that we put in the plug worked just like stock. So that is great. Now, if we move over to here, as you can see, it's showing that the passenger airbag light is indeed on, which I actually prefer. I want it on. But I think it is blinking, thinking that there is a passenger in there because of the way that I have this sensor. Basically, the sensor is pushed up against the bottom of the seat. So it's actually sensing some weight. So it thinks there's a passenger in there. So a way to resolve that is actually to take the belt buckle, plug it in, and that will turn off. But I don't want to drive like that. So I'm actually going to purchase on Amazon. They actually just have the belt clips. So no, not the actual belt, just the actual clip. And you can just pop it in there. And that light will stay off. And then when there actually is a passenger in there, you know, they can just take that out and put the belt in there. So that is a solution to not hear the chime. You can also do the whole 30 click thing with the car on and buckle it in. I forget what it is. You have to do it 20 times within 30 seconds or something like that. And there would be no seatbelt chime, but I don't want that light blinking there. So I'm just going to get one of those little buckles that I put in there, and that should resolve that. So yeah, I'm happy. That's pretty straightforward. And make sure you guys pick up those resistors if you want to keep the airbag light off and all the other airbags functioning properly. So let's get out of the car. I'm going to clean up the garage. I got tools everywhere. Can't really, well, you can kind of see me on the workbench there. Then we can wrap the video up. I can show you the finished product. All right, guys, so that wraps this video up. This has literally been a dream of mine for a very, very long time. Not just in the STI, but I have always wanted a set of these seats in one of my cars. The closest that I got was with my M3, my E46 M3. I had a pair of fixed buckets from Race Tech. They were amazing, but not suitable for daily driving. I got sick of them very quickly and ended up selling them off and went back to stock. But these are the perfect daily driven seat. I mean, look how awesome they look in here. They're completely reclinable. And one of the best parts about it is, you know, if you have a coupe or even a sedan, you can tilt them forward so you get access to the back. But for me, the reason why I like this so much is because when I'm cleaning the car, all I got to do is this so I can wipe down the backs. And also, if you guys know, I am actually getting carbon backs for these as well. I'm importing them overseas. A buddy of mine is getting them for me and him. It's actually another set, I believe, so he can sell since he is a Subaru parts dealer. But that should be a really nice finish to an otherwise really nice seat. They're going to be completely carbon, same exact carbon that is around the car. So it's going to be a nice little touch to some already really nice seats. But absolutely love it. I already ordered the little belt buckle thing that goes in there so the little light doesn't blink and I don't have to deal with the chime. So very, very simple. I'll update you guys once that comes in. It is amazing to see two of the same seats finally in here. I mean, look how cool this interior is now. It's just, it's so much cleaner. So here's a rear shot of the seats. Absolutely beautiful. I love how that looks. Getting the carbon backs is going to be amazing. But as you guys know, I'm interested in actually swapping with a WRX Limited. I think I want the leather seats since it does have the red stitching. So if anybody local that wants to swap with some STI rear seats, they have to be leather and it has to be in really, 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 really good condition. You know, probably never sat in, has very, very low miles since I'm very, very picky. But if you are interested in swapping for a couple $100 on top of it, let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram and maybe we can work something out. If not, I'll just rock the STI seats in the rear. But there we go. There is the final install of the Recaro Sportster GT seats in my 2017 STI. Airbag lights, everything is perfect. Just got to get the little receptacle there and we are good to go. Now, really quick before I end this video, if you are interested in picking any of this up, so if you want the full set, the seats alone are around $1,700 each. Plus the brackets and the rails and everything, you're looking at close to $5,000 for a set of these seats with everything that I have on here. Pretty expensive, but honestly, 100% worth it. People always ask me what my favorite modification is to this car, and without a doubt, every single time I say these seats. If I was able to keep the entire car stock and I had to choose one modification, it would be these seats. You sit so much lower, you're more direct at the pedals. The stock seating in the STI and the WRX is terrible. It feels like you're sitting on top of the car as opposed to, you know, feeling like you're a part of the car. These seats completely change the dynamic of this entire car, the way it feels, the way it drives. And it's just an absolute amazing seat that really, really changes this entire car. Like I said, your feet are more directly at the pedals as opposed to being on top. It's just an overall better experience, better feel. And honestly, it is so worth it if you have the means to do so. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I will update you guys in a future video once I get the little belt receptacle in. Just in case you guys are interested, if you want to do exactly the same setup that I have, I'll link everything below and I'll show you how it works. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all about the seats or anything about the install, please leave them in the comments below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.